My guest over the next couple segments is Mark Immelman. You probably know Mark because of his golf broadcasting with CBS, with PGA Tour Live. He's the host of the On the Mark podcast, where you can find wherever you get your audio content. He has a new book coming out, which I'm going to talk to him in a couple of segments from now. The new book is called Lessons from the Best: Holistic Insights, Tips, and Tricks to Improve Your Golf. The foreword was written in that book by Jim Nance. But what you may not be aware of is that Mark has long been one of the preeminent experts on the golf swing, and his credibility in that regard, whether you talk about it from teaching the best of the best at the highest tiers of the game to coaching at the collegiate level. And that is the golf swing, and understanding it in a way that few have before him or since. And I want to discuss that with him too and pick up from there. Mark, first of all, welcome into the show. A pleasure to have your company. Let's start with what you saw from Scottie Scheffler. Scotty's performance, it's like he jumped into a phone booth after the seventh hole on Sunday and became Super Scotty. In many ways, kind of became the Scotty Scheffler that we were expecting as well, in fairness. But overall, I want to just start with your impressions of the Masters, your impressions of how tough it was, and then we'll dive into Scotty in particular.
Well, Matty, it's so good to be with you. I'm coming down from what was once again just an incredible event. It's uncanny to me how every year the Masters just finds a way to deliver storylines that are unmatched, and as it pertains to Scotty, it's amazing to me how he checks so many boxes. And I just want to harken back to the founder and co-founder, I should say, of the Augusta National Golf Club, and that's Bob Jones. And Bob Jones said that in golf, you have to beat somebody. You just have to make sure that somebody is not yourself. And then he also said that, the key to golf is to turn 3 strokes into 2. And Scotty Scheffler last week showed exactly that. He didn't just not beat himself. He allowed or created the presence, if you will, where the other golfers sort of beat themselves. And he just did Scotty Scheffler, and he's got that unreal ability to remain present, to remain poised, to just keep doing his thing despite all the mayhem going around me. I know you can appreciate this. You, a poet yourself, the poem If by Rudyard Kipling?
Yes.
To me, Scotty Scheffler embodies everything in that poem, how he's like, when all else is going wrong around you, you can still, keep your head, where you can meet triumph and disaster, both imposters with the same attitude. This is who he is. And to me, it was such an incredible performance, given the fact that he came in as the resounding favorites. And you look at John Rahm, for argument's sake, defending champion, you could almost see the pressure of defending, the pressure of trying to prove a point, maybe, just etched all over his comportment, where Scotty was like, I'm just playing golf. I know I'm the best. If I just hang around and do my thing, I'm going to be in the mix Sunday afternoon. And he was. And to his credits, he didn't just win, he won. He won going away, and it was impressive stuff.
How tough, and I realize this is a broad brush question, and I mean it to be for your reaction. How tough were the conditions, particularly in the from middle of the day onward in round 1, 2, and into 3?
2 and 3 were as hard as I've seen. In fact, I caught up with my brother Trevor maybe Saturday morning, and I said to him, hey, Friday felt like Sunday in 2008, because the year my brother won, that Sunday was just ghastly. The year before was kind of the same thing with Zach Johnson in the final round, where it was cold and really windy. Trevor's conditions were sort of warm-ish, but really windy, gusting, and that just makes all those holes so challenging, especially around Amen Corner. I mean, we saw the 11th hole play almost 3/4 of a stroke over par in round 2. It was playing like a par 5. And then the 12th hole was as innocuous looking as what it is and how beautiful it is. It was dastardly. I mean, that place was devilish. And then 13, you think you can make one back, but with the blustery winds, 5 was also a good score. So in many respects, I feel like Friday, par was a really good score. In very many respects, Saturday, I think it was the same kind of deal. Testament, in my opinion, to the committee, the setup committee, Bob Jones also said that if you play well, you should be able to shoot something in the 60s. Well, Ludwig Aberg shot 69 Friday, which was a manful round. And Saturday we saw a few rounds in the 60s too. So it was very, very hard, but still somehow they made it fair.
All of that is incredibly impressive. The golf course was clearly very, very difficult. I know Rahm was amongst those that was suggesting that maybe at times the wind was too severe and they should have been a delay because of potentially balls oscillating or movement. I didn't see that. I didn't hear that that was happening, but nonetheless, that was mentioned. I'm curious about where Scotty Scheffler fits after this. I think in the immediacy of something of this stature, winning a second major championship and the run that he's been on, winning 3 or 4 and a tie for second in the other event that he's in, that we tend as fans, as journalists, to overplace people from a historic standpoint. Is that even possible with Scotty Scheffler? Where do you think he fits?
Well, I'll say this, and this is with immediate respect to what he's just achieved. Not just the victory, but the run he's on, where he's won 3 of the last 4. And the one he didn't win, he had a putt to get into a playoff. There you have the list of major championship winners. I want to say this. In my experiences, being alongside folks who have won major championships, the difference between 0 and 1 is gigantic. The difference between 1 and 2 is even bigger. The difference between 2 and 3 is even bigger than that. And then as we venture further into these upper reaches of major championship success and wins, each victory just seems farther away because you are venturing where angels fear to tread, if you will. And we can see that with Rory, how, he's had a Hall of Fame career. And if he had to stop, he would be one of the greats of all time. But in Rory's mind, when he gets to Augusta National, he's not successful. So he just has his mind on one. Now, with the way Scotty's playing, if he remains injury-free, well, look, the odds are on that he'll get 1 or 2 more. But, life's about to change for him as well. I'm not saying he won't win again, but I'm saying he's about to have a little baby in the house. That changes things. Jack Nicklaus famously said that about Tiger Woods. He goes, look, he's fantastic. I want to see how things go when he becomes a father. So, look, I expect Scotty to win more. But those things, there's just 4 of them every year, and they're very, very hard to win, and the competition is always stiff. And like at the Augusta National Golf Club, every shot is on the razor's edge, and you just have to get on the wrong side of one bounce, and that could be the difference. So will he win more? Likely. Am I guaranteeing any number? Absolutely not, because I know how hard they are to win.
If someone had brought Scotty Scheffler to you, Mark Immelman, as a little boy and said, please check out my boy, please check out his golf swing, would you have tried to change it?
I'm a bridge as a golf instructor. I'm a bridge between the old and the new. I feel like the old guys, they did what they could with what they had, with their understanding. The new guys have the benefit of technology and a lot of information. But still, I feel like even with all this new stuff, and you can talk about all these theories and how force is applied and all these scientific methods, if you will, I still feel like golf is a very human game. I feel like golf is a game of recovery. I feel like golf is a mercurial game that loves fundamentals. So what I love about Scotty Scheffler is how Randy Smith emphasizes to this day with him fundamentals. You will see him before every round with his molded grip on his 5-iron, checking his grip, hitting clubs with that. So making sure his connection with the club is good. You'll see him checking ball position, alignment, those sorts of mundane things constantly. When he's on the course, you'll actually see the pre-shot routine before every shot where he grips the club, he holds it up in front of him, checks his hands before he goes anywhere. So would I have probably tried to tighten up the footwork? Honestly, yes. But would I have been true to the fundamentals that he respects so highly? Definitely, yes. So that's a tough question to answer because as an instructor, you want to kind of put your fingerprints on things. But it's just testament to how great Randy Smith is to allow his young man to develop like he did.
All right, so all-inclusive then, Mark Immelman, what is the chief attribute to Scotty Scheffler? What makes Scotty Scheffler the competitor that he is?
I've oftentimes listed them in 3 Ps, well, now 4, because now he's a putter as well. But I feel like there's poise. If you watch him, he never really shows his cards. Only once in Amen Corner coverage last week did I see him look a little flustered. And that was after a bogey, I think it was on the 12th. But then he bounced right back with an eagle on 13 on Saturday. And so there was that where there was a little bit of wobble where you could see, like, hold on, the cheeks were a little flushed, but he's just always poised. He's got a whole lot of perspective. You hear him talking about the fact that golf is what I do, it's not who I am. And then there's a presence about him that's admirable. All the great champions I've managed to be around and watched from a front row seat while I'm on the golf course, they are able to stay inordinately present. There's no forwards, there's no behinds. They're right where their feet are. So the perspective, the poise, the presence to me are the skills where he has that stuff in buckets. Now, can he hit the ball well? Yeah, absolutely. Has he got all the tools? He's a 5-tool guy. But I feel like what's happening between the ears is as good, in my opinion, almost as Tiger Woods.
How many weeks in a month, Mark, are you on the road right now broadcasting for whether it's PGA Tour Live or whether it's CBS?
Right now, Matty, we're about to go on embark on, we're in the midst of, I should say, a long run where we've got, I think, 16 of the next 18. So basically every weekend of the month. But look, it's a thrill. If you had to have told me a little while back, in fact, when I came on your Fairways of Life radio show many moons ago, that I'd be working for CBS and for the PGA Tour and getting to opine about golfers like Scotty Scheffler and Rory and company, I would have said you were crazy. And so it truly is thrilling.
Yeah, you're doing a great job with it, and it's very, very fun. The question of the day, folks, that Dom posed today was, who's the best player in the world? And he gave you a choice between Scotty Scheffler and Nelly Korda. And right now, 81% and change of you are saying that Scotty is the best player in the world. Yesterday, Caitlin Clark was drafted number 1 by the Indiana Fever. Are the lines between, from a fan's perspective, and who you invest your emotions in, Mark, and how excited you get about what's going on, are those lines starting to diminish in terms of how heavily there used to be a demarcation between men's sports and women's sports with what we're seeing with Caitlin? And now we have Nelly Korda, world number 1, going for her 5th. We're seeing some incredible things from the standpoint of saying, I talk to people all the time that say, no, I love watching the LPGA because her swings are so good, which is a perfect place to pick up with Nelly, isn't it?
It truly is. And I think as far as those lines being blurred a little bit, I feel like here in the United States, we can get a little myopic because, we see things from our lens. I would say if you went to South Korea, I'd say that they probably think that women's golf is more popular than men's. So I think it's a very geographic in a way, but still, as far as it pertains to Nelly versus Scotty, the lines are blurred because golfers, because of access to golf, with streaming and all that sort of stuff, and with social media 24/7, golf is becoming, the reach is wider. And Nelly, to me, is not like Tiger Woods, but the one thing Tiger did was he transcended the boundaries of his sport. And where Scotty is all golf, I feel like Nelly is getting to a place where she's blurring the lines a little bit. And some of it is thanks to her last name. Her father was a tremendous tennis player and her brother is too. But the other thing is just because everything about her is so enticing. The way she looks, the way she swings, the manner of her, the easy manner on social media. She engages with fans and stuff. So look, I am massively impressed with the both of them, and it's just fun to see what they're doing.
Yeah, to that point of that easy manner, and the golf swing is very much a part of it. I just told you that the question of the day that Don put up there, and if you go onto the Fairways of Life YouTube page, you can vote on it yourself if you please. Who's the best player in the world? You're saying 82% are saying Scotty Scheffler right now. We asked the exact same question about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, of which swing would you rather have? When I say exact same question, I mean the Scotty Scheffler between Scotty and Nelly. Which swing would you rather have? And 82% of you said Nelly Korda's golf swing. So with that, Mark, if you could explain to us the golf swing of Nelly Korda. I asked you what you liked about Scotty Scheffler. What do you like about Nelly Korda?
Well, first off, I want to say this. As a guy back in the day who had a pretty golf swing, I will say this, the golf swing is only as pretty as what's underneath the hood. It's like having one of those cars that has got the fantastic exterior but no real engine. And as you look at Nelly, I mean, it is so aesthetically pleasing. To me, it's hypnotic at times. It's almost mesmerizing with the lines of it and the rhythm and the balance. It looks like it fell straight out of heaven. But underneath the hood, it is so impressive too, because with that long, wide rhythmic arc, she creates a whole lot of speed. So there's power there. Her control of the club face to me is immaculate because she hits a very tight ball flight, but she hits everything. She has every shot from my experiences. And so it is super impressive. It's fundamentally sound. But again, to me, the engine, the insides of it is so great. And the way she generates speed and power is so under control. And it's so repetitive. You know, when I grade a golf swing, I look for 3 questions. Number 1 is, does it strike the ball squarely? The swing, that is, the club face. Number 2 is, does it create adequate leverage or maximum speed for minimum efforts? And the third question is, does it repeat under pressure? And Nelly's is a resounding yes to all 3. So look, it is impressive, and her manner about it and her understanding of it to me is even more impressive because she knows exactly who she is, what her tendencies are, and what she's able to do under pressure.
When you, with your position and your ability to view the game from the top tiers, how unique is it where we are right now with what we're seeing from Scotty Scheffler and the run that he is on, with what we're seeing from Nelly Korda going for her 5th? She's incidentally going for her 2nd major championship victory this week. How unique is the position we're in to actually realize where, to use your phrase earlier, where our feet are right now?
I think we're just very fortunate. The position is unique. If you think of previous dominating runs, you think of Seri Pak perhaps on the LPGA, and then of course you think of Annika Sorenstam, and then there's been a few LPGA players that have come before that. But because of social media, it was sort of very reserved to the folks that were close to it. But now, because of YouTube and social media and the Golf Channel and streaming and all this sort of stuff, everybody can see it. And there are few folks, there are few outlets that are really championing the LPGA. So to be able to see both the PGA Tour and of course the Live League even, and then the LPGA whenever you want, I think is so cool. And me as a golf instructor still, and the father of a daughter now who's playing golf at a fairly high level, I pay a lot of attention to the LPGA, and I'm clipping Nelly's swing and Jin Young Ko's swing and whoever it is as much as what I am Rory McIlroy and Ludwig Aberg. So it's a really cool spot we're currently in.
No doubt about that. Now, speaking to you as a expert in the golf swing and a longtime coach of the same, his new book is called Lessons from the Best: Holistic Insights, Tips, and Tricks to Improve Your Golf. The foreword was written by Jim Nantz. First question I always ask any author, Mark, is why did you write this book? What's the why?
I've had this inside of me for the longest time. I've done a couple ebooks way back in the day, and they were somewhat successful. But as a young man growing up in South Africa, I learned the game by way of books. I had a club professional who was like a mentor, but more a person mentor than a golf swing mentor or a game mentor. He taught me a lot, but everything I learned was via book. We didn't have much golf coverage on TV back there then, and so I used to pull out swing sequences from Golf Digest magazines. I still have the file I would keep them in the plastic covers, and then I read lots of books. I've got hundreds of them, and so it's always been something that I wanted to do. And we got to a place now with this podcast where one day I looked over it and I looked at the number of episodes we had, and I looked at some of the guests and just some of the insights they'd shared. And I was like, there's some kid somewhere in the world who once is like me, who cannot necessarily get to a Butch Harmon, or cannot necessarily get to Bob Rotella, or whoever these great, swing performance people are, or physical trainers, you name it, because my podcast basically assembles those folks and helps introduce them and shine bright lights on them while folks around the world can get their insights. And so I was like, I feel like there's a lot of gold here that needs to be mined and kind of put in one place. And for those folks who aren't into podcasting, it's a great idea. And then I've gotten lots of requests too for transcripts of my podcast. Now mine's self-produced, so I don't have time to go through the thing and make a good transcript thereof. So it was a labor of love, and it's just always been inside. And I'm thankful to Jim Saiter and the folks at Back Nine Publishing that they gave me a chance to bring this thing to life. It's been an honor.
And is the book out right now, Mark, or when will it come out?
It's available for pre-sale right now. It'll be out sort of mid-summerish, around June, I would say. So right now is available for pre-sale. Okay,
so give us a glimpse of something that's within the book that our listening and viewing audience can benefit from. What pearl is in there that you would say is one that's applicable immediately?
Well, each chapter is basically a chapter about a guest. So there's a chapter from David Ledbetter, and there's a chapter from Max Homa, and there's a chapter from Jordan Spieth. And so each chapter is basically the podcast where I go through the podcast and I just pull out some of the nuggets, some of the insights that they've shared, and then I elaborate on them because obviously they touch on something, but the whole message is sometimes not given. Because I'm a big one for understanding. I think information is power. But so many folks have information, but they don't apply it correctly. So you can go in there, and I'll take something from Jordan Spieth because it's top of mind. He shared some incredible insights about pitching and chipping and bunker play and how his wedge, he talked about the amount of bounce. He's only got 0 degrees of bounce on his lofted wedge. And he spoke about how he plays every short game shot to hold it. And it's a mindset. And he acknowledged that there's risks with that, but he's going with a reward over the risk. And then at the end of the conversation, I asked him, "Okay, Jordan, if you had to write your memoirs or tell young Sammy, okay, this is what I know for sure." He thought for a second and he said, "It's not the critic who counts." And I looked at him. I was like, And then he said, Mark, and I paraphrase, he goes, "I was really good. And then my game fell off, and I started to listen to some of the criticism. And now he says, in looking back, because I've went through the doldrums and my game is trending back up, if I had not listened to all the noise, I might have come back a little quicker." He goes, because as it turns out, everything I was doing, everything that people, pundits, if you will, were critiquing, is actually what everyone's trying to do right now. So he goes, it's not the critic who counts. And I feel like as a holistic tip for someone, that is so good, because as soon as we play badly, we turn around and we look at someone or we listen to some critic. And sometimes that can be detrimental.
That's absolutely brilliant. This is why we love Mark Immelman. We are so proud of what you are doing and continue to do in your march through the game and the way you are giving back. His podcast is called On the Mark. You can find it wherever you get your audio content. And, of course, the new book is out right now for pre-order. Mark, thank you so much for your time. The game is about hope. The game is about the if and embracing the both. And we appreciate that you would give us as much time as you have today.
Matt, I'm eternally thankful to you, and it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.